Adaobi and her younger sister, Neka, grew up in the heart of Enugu, where their parents, Chief and Madam Okonkwo, ran a well-known catering business called Okonkwo's Delights. It was famous for its rich, flavorful jollof rice, nkwobi, and pounded yam with a goosey soup. Customers traveled from all over to taste their mother's secret recipes, which had been passed down through generations. From a young age, Adaobi and Neka were deeply involved in the family business. Adaobi, the eldest, was always the more responsible one. She had a sharp mind for business and understood how to negotiate with suppliers, manage accounts, and keep their workers happy. Neka, on the other hand, had a gift for cooking. She could turn the simplest ingredients into mouth-watering dishes. As the years passed, their parents grew older and decided to retire, leaving the business in the hands of Adaobi. This decision was not surprising. Adaobi had been managing most of the business for years. But while Adaobi took charge of the business operations, Neka continued to run the kitchen, ensuring that the food quality remained top-notch. At first, everything seemed to go well. Under Adaobi's leadership, Okonkwo's Delights expanded, opened a second location, and even gained attention from food bloggers and influencers. The restaurant was busier than ever, and profits soared. But jealousy began to grow in Neka's heart. One evening, after a busy day at the restaurant, Neka sat at a corner table, fuming. She had just overheard a group of customers praising Adaobi. "Adaobi is such a brilliant businesswoman," one woman said. "Yes, she really turned this place into something big," another agreed. Neka slammed her spoon onto the plate, pushing her food aside. Adaobi, who had just walked in, noticed her sister's tense expression. "What's wrong, Neka?" she asked, sitting across from her. Neka folded her arms. "Do you ever wonder why no one talks about my hard work?" Adaobi frowned. "What do you mean?" Neka scoffed. "I cook the food. I train the chefs. I make sure the flavors are perfect. But when people talk about the success of this place, they only mention you." Adaobi sighed. "Neka, I know how hard you work, and I appreciate it. But running a business is more than just cooking. I handle the finances, marketing, customer relations, and expansion." Neka rolled her eyes. "But without my food, you'd have nothing to market." Adaobi reached for Neka's hand, but she pulled away. "We are in this together, Neka. Our parents left this for both of us. I don't want us to fight." Neka didn't respond. Deep down, she knew Adaobi had a point, but the bitterness had already taken root in her heart. A few days later, Neka's childhood friend, Chuka, visited her at the restaurant. "Neka, you're wasting your talent here," Chuka said, stirring his drink. Neka raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about? This is Adaobi's business, not yours. But you are the real genius behind these dishes. I know an investor who would be willing to fund you if you open your own restaurant." Neka hesitated. "That would be betrayal." Chuka leaned in, his voice smooth. "Or it could be destiny. Think about it, Neka. Your name on the sign, your recipes, your success. No more playing second to Adaobi." That night, Neka lay awake, torn between loyalty to her sister and the temptation of finally getting the recognition she craved. A month later, Adaobi walked into the restaurant to find some of her best chefs handing in their resignation letters. "What is going on?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. One of the chefs, Emeka, hesitated before speaking. We've been offered a better opportunity, madam." Adaobi's heart pounded. "By who?" Silence. Then, one of the younger chefs muttered, "By Neka." Adaobi felt the air leave her lungs. "Neka?" A cold dread filled her as she rushed to her office, flipping through files. The worst part wasn't the chefs leaving. It was the missing recipe book. That night, Neka officially opened Neka's kitchen, just a few blocks away. Adaobi stormed into Neka's kitchen the next morning, her hands shaking with anger. She found Neka standing at the counter, proudly directing her new staff. "How could you?" Adaobi demanded. Neka barely flinched. "I did what was best for me." Adaobi shook her head. "You stole from me, from our family." Neka crossed her arms. "I took what was mine. The recipes, the skills, the talent, they were always mine. You just took credit for them." Adaobi's voice broke. "I trusted you, Neka. Our parents trusted you." For a moment, guilt flashed across Neka's face, but she quickly hardened her expression. "This is business, Adaobi. Nothing personal." Adaobi stared at her, disbelief washing over her. "You've made a huge mistake."